Have you ever had the feeling that the more you share your experiences, the less people seem to understand you? That the more you try to explain your pain, your dreams, or your plans, the more everything seems to diminish in importance? You feel more fragile, and it becomes harder to move forward? There is a deep reason for this, and Carl Jung knew it very well. Jung discovered that human beings have an unconscious need to validate their own existence through the eyes of others. We seek approval, understanding, and companionship. But in the process, we often give away our personal power. Every time you share intimate details of your life without due wisdom, you are giving up something sacred, your internal energy. And this, although it seems like an innocent act, has a cost, because what you tell is given away, and what is given away no longer belongs exclusively to you. Maintaining silence is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. The strongest people are not those who talk the most about their process. They are the ones who experience it in silence, with determination, because they know that their internal battles do not need witnesses, but victory. Therefore, today, Jung's inspiration invites us to walk a different path, one that is not based on external noise, but on inner awakening. We are going to explore 15 lessons that will teach you why keeping silent at the right moment is one of the most powerful acts you can practice, and how this silence can become your greatest tool for transformation. But before we proceed, remember this: what is not told is cultivated, and what is cultivated in secret manifests with great force in the visible world. If you are ready to stop telling and start building, this message is for you. Stay with me until the end. What you're about to hear may forever change the way you understand your life, your relationships, and your purpose. Now, let's begin. Lesson 1. Words reveal more than you imagine. Every time you speak, you leave a mark, not only on those who hear you, but also on yourself. Jung said that when you verbalize an emotion or experience, you take it out of your unconscious and bring it into the outer world. This can either help you or weaken you. It all depends on when, how, and to whom you speak. Have you ever told someone something important and later felt regret, as if you had lost something? That is not a coincidence. It's your mind signaling that moment was exclusively yours, and you gave it away too soon. Words have weight, and if you use them without awareness, you end up emptying yourself from within. Silence, on the other hand, protects you, gives you time, allows you to feel, understand, and process before exposing yourself. Today, more than ever, we are used to sharing everything on social media, in messages, and in trivial conversations. But we rarely stop to think, do I really need to say this? Or am I saying it because I don't know how to deal with what I feel? Learn to observe, to listen to your inner world. Not everything you think needs to be said. Some things just need to be understood. Lesson 2. What you keep silent about grows stronger. There is a mysterious force that grows in silence. Jung understood this as the incubation of the soul. When you stop telling people what is happening to you, you begin to live it more intensely. Instead of seeking comfort outside, you seek it within yourself. And this awakens a wisdom that few know. Do you know why you sometimes feel more confused after talking to someone about your problems? Because often you are waiting for a solution that only you can find. Silence forces you to confront yourself, and it is in this intimate space that true transformation is born. You do not need others to understand you in order to heal. You need to understand yourself to make peace with your history, your pain, and your doubts. And this process does not require witnesses. It requires commitment. If you learn to live through your processes without the constant need to share them, you will begin to experience a different kind of peace, more solid and profound, a peace that does not depend on anything external. Is this message making sense to you? Then I invite you to stay until the end, because what is to come is even more powerful. And if you believe this content can help someone, share it. You never know who might be awakened by a simple gesture. Lesson 3. The need for approval makes you weak. One of the biggest obstacles to personal growth is the need to tell everything to receive validation. Jung claimed that the shadow of the human being feeds on their insecurity, and a common way to express this insecurity is the urge to speak. When you talk about what you are doing or feeling with the intention of being understood, accepted, or praised, you are allowing your identity to depend on others. This makes you manipulable, predictable, and fragile. Inner strength is born when you no longer need applause or understanding, when you can walk firmly even if no one is watching, and build in silence even if no one knows. Stop using words as an emotional shield. You do not need to justify yourself or convince anyone. Your process is yours, and the more you protect it, the more powerful it will become. Remember this: the one who needs to tell the most is the one who has understood the least about what they are living, because the one who truly understands remains silent. Lesson 4. The soul wears out when you talk too much. Every word you use has an energetic cost. We don't see it, but we feel it. Have you ever felt exhausted after a conversation in which you talked a lot about your problems? That is an emotional drain. Jung taught that speaking without awareness weakens the soul, because every time you name your pain without having processed it, you reactivate it, relive it, and make it bigger. It is not about repressing what you feel, but about knowing when to speak, with whom, and for what purpose. Speaking wisely brings relief. Speaking out of habit is draining. Not all wounds need to be told. Some just need to be embraced in silence, within your innermost self. Stop talking to vent and start observing what you feel. Write, if necessary. Breathe, accept its presence, and see how the energy that once escaped in words now turns into inner strength. Lesson 5. Not everyone deserves to know your inner world. Jung believed that the soul protects itself by setting boundaries. And one of the most important boundaries is knowing to whom you open your emotional world. Not everyone who listens to you does so with respect. Some are moved only by curiosity, others by envy. And there are those who use your vulnerability as information to judge or weaken you. Your life is not a spectacle. You do not owe anyone an explanation. Only you know what you have lived, what you feel, and the cost of every step you take. Talking too much is opening doors that are later difficult to close, and often these invaded spaces turn into new wounds. be selective. Take care of your story as something sacred, because it is. Not everyone deserves to know your battles, and much less your dreams. Silence is a form of self-respect. Lesson 6. Transformation occurs in the hidden. True metamorphoses do not happen in public. They occur in silence, in seclusion, in the intimacy of your soul. Jung explained this with a powerful image: the alchemist's process. The alchemist transforms lead into gold, but he does it in secret, inside his laboratory. Your evolution works the same way. It is an internal, slow, deep, and silent process. When you stop talking about what you're trying to change in your life, you give that change space to mature, without pressure, judgments, or external interference. Great decisions are made in solitude, as are great breakthroughs. You do not need to publish every step or tell everyone what you are working on. Do it in secret, with intention, and when the change manifests, it will speak for itself. If this message is making you reflect, take a moment to share it. There are thousands of people searching for this kind of truth, and you could be the one to introduce them to it. Lesson 7. What you hide builds you. Carl Jung stated that the unconscious guards everything we do not say and transforms it, not as a punishment, but as an opportunity. Every thought you decide not to share becomes raw material for your growth. It is like a seed planted in darkness. It is not seen or heard, but it is alive. And while no one is watching, it grows roots. When you decide to remain silent about your most delicate processes, you give them space to mature. You prevent the gaze or words of others from contaminating this internal process. That is where you build yourself. Telling what you are living is often a way of running from yourself, an excuse not to face your own chaos. But when you dare to remain in silence with what you carry inside, a powerful transformation begins. You learn to hold your truth without depending on anyone, for there is no greater strength than that of someone who can coexist with their own shadow and still walk forward with light. Lesson 8. Not everything needs to be explained. The human soul is a mystery, and Jung knew this better than anyone. Not everything follows a visible logic. Not everything you feel can be explained, and that's okay. Sometimes we seek to tell what is happening to us in order to understand ourselves, but in this attempt, we reduce what we are living to poor, limited, and incomplete words. And so, what was profound becomes superficial. Silence, on the other hand, honors the sacredness of your experience. It gives space for the emotion to express itself without you needing to translate it. It gives dignity to your pain and respect to your path. There are moments in life that do not need to be told, only felt. Sometimes the wisest thing is not to speak, but to close your eyes and breathe. When you accept that you do not need to explain yourself, you gain freedom, and in that freedom, you grow. Lesson 9. An excess of words disconnects. One of the most common traps of modern human beings is talking so much that they forget to feel. Jung saw this as a psychological defense. Talking nonstop is a way of not looking inward. And what's worse, the more you talk, the more you distance yourself from yourself. Think about this. How many times have you explained what is happening to you without being able to feel better? How many times have you repeated the same story to different people, as if telling it would free you. But the truth is that it does not free you. It only distracts you. Silence forces you to be present, to stop looking for answers outside and start feeling them inside. And when you learn to be with yourself without the need to speak, you reconnect. You do not need to talk so much to heal. You need to listen to yourself more. Lesson 10. True power is cultivated in the hidden. There is a reason why wise people have always been silent. Jung intuited this. Real power does not make noise. It is felt. It is built in secret and manifests in the invisible. Nowadays, many believe that sharing everything is synonymous with authenticity, but it is not. Authenticity does not mean exposure. It means coherence. You do not need to tell your process to validate it. You do not need to show your battles to make them real. Your strength does not depend on someone seeing it. It depends on how you live it. The greatest power is that which is not noticed, but which sustains everything, like the roots of a tree that, although hidden under the earth, are essential for its growth. So is your process, your soul, and your path. Deep, silent, and real. If you are understanding the depth of these lessons, then you already know why Jung was not just a psychologist, but a master of the soul. Silence is not absence, it is pure presence. And when you inhabit it, you begin to hear your true voice. If what you are hearing touches you, then do something about it. Save it, write it down, apply it, and if you believe someone else needs to hear it, share it. Sometimes a single word can awaken the one who needs it most. Lesson 11. Sharing before the right time weakens the process. Jung said that the soul needs space to organize itself before being shared. When you tell something too soon, before understanding it, you expose it to interpretations that can further confuse your path. Perhaps you just wanted advice, but received judgment. Or maybe you sought relief and received doubts. This happens when you open up your process before it has matured. Imagine a flower opening before its time. It withers. The same thing happens to you when you reveal what is not yet ready to come to light. Learn to wait. Give your inner self time to strengthen. Not everything you feel is ready to be told. And when it is, you will know, because you will not do it out of necessity, but by conscious choice. He who knows how to wait in silence becomes the master of his process. Lesson 12. Silence bothers the insecure. Those who do not know how to be silent with themselves tend to distrust those who can. Therefore, when you decide to be quiet, there will be those who criticize you, accusing you of being distant, closed off, or cold. But Jung explained this clearly. Many people feel threatened by the silence of others because they cannot stand their own. It reminds them of everything they have not resolved, and they prefer noise to distract themselves from their own emptiness. Do not change your way of being because of the discomfort of others. You do not need to fill silences that do not belong to you. Your inner peace is more important than any external approval. To inhabit silence with dignity is one of the purest forms of freedom. And whoever truly values you will not need you to talk all the time. They will understand your energy even without words. Lesson 13. External noise erases intuition. We live in an era where everything is said, recorded, and published. Amidst so much noise, we forget something essential. The voice of intuition is only heard in silence. Jung firmly believed that within every human being dwells a natural wisdom, an inner compass that guides them, but it does not shout. It whispers, and if you are always talking, telling, explaining, and justifying yourself, you will not be able to hear it. The next time you feel confused, do not look for someone to talk to. Sit with yourself. Turn everything off. Breathe and listen. At first, you may only hear mental noise, but if you stay long enough, you will begin to hear something else. That voice that arises from your deepest interior is your intuition, and it has more answers than you imagine, but it only speaks in silence. Lesson 14. Sometimes silence is your greatest defense. When you are hurt, when you have been betrayed, or when you have lost something important, the strongest impulse is usually to speak, to tell what happened, to shout your truth, to vent. But Jung taught that often silence is not only wise, but also protective. Speaking in the midst of pain can make you vulnerable to people who do not deserve your trust. It can turn your truth into a spectacle for those who do not understand what you are going through. Silence, on the other hand, protects you, gives you time to see clearly, allows you to heal without exposing yourself, and above all, prevents your process from becoming a narrative that others can manipulate. Not everyone deserves to know how you feel, and not everyone will know how to take care of what you share. Learn to guard your sacred moments and see how your healing accelerates when it is not contaminated by others' voices. Lesson 15. Silence reveals who you truly are. In the end, when the words run out and there is nothing left to explain, what remains is your essence. Jung knew this. Silence is not absence. It is revelation. When you stop telling what you do, what you feel, and what you dream, you start living it. And in that silent experience, your true self appears. You are what you do in solitude. You are what you think when no one sees you. You are what you endure without anyone knowing. And that is power, real power, because no one can take from you what has not been told. No one can manipulate what only you know. Your silence is not empty. It is sacred territory. And whoever learns to inhabit it becomes their own master. Now you understand. To stop telling what happens in your life is not to close yourself off. It is to free yourself. It is not fear, it is wisdom. It is not coldness, it is strength. Carl Jung showed us that the path to true transformation does not pass through the noise or the opinion of others, but through a deep connection with oneself. Therefore, do not be afraid to be silent. On the contrary, be afraid to speak when you are not yet ready, because words can break what silence was healing. Cultivate your inner world, guard it, protect it, and when you are ready to show it, you will no longer need to explain it. It will be noticed. If this message touched something within you, share it. There are thousands of people out there who need to hear this, but do not know how to ask. And if you wish to continue receiving messages like this, stay tuned. This journey is just beginning. Now you comprehend. It is not just about being silent for the sake of it. It is about learning to protect what matters most, your inner world. Jung did not speak of an empty silence, but of a fertile silence, a silence that nourishes, heals, and transforms. Because what is not said grows within, and what is guarded with purpose turns into wisdom. We live in an era where everyone wants to be heard, but few dare to listen to themselves, where everyone wants to talk, but almost no one wants to understand. And you have the opportunity to break this cycle, to create a new way of living, more authentic, stronger, and freer. To be silent is not to disappear. It is to choose to appear from another place, from your center, from your truth. And when you learn to live without needing to tell everything, something incredible happens. You no longer need anyone to understand you because you already understand yourself. You do not need to prove anything because your life speaks for itself. You no longer seek approval because you have given yourself what you once expected from others. That is power, that is maturity, that is awakening. Jung left us these lessons not as rules, but as beacons, guides for you to find yourself amidst the noise of the world. And if you apply them, believe me, you will not be the same. Because whoever learns to be silent with wisdom never again begs for understanding. Think for a moment about everything you have ever told in your life, to friends, family, to people who may not even be present anymore. What did you gain from it? Understanding, relief, judgment, indifference. The truth is that many times what we share with the intention of healing ends up hurting us more, because not everyone understands your point of view. Not everyone has lived what you have lived, and even with good intentions, they cannot process your truth with the same depth as you. This leads us to a powerful revelation. There are things that only you can bear, and it is not because you must carry everything alone, but because there are parts of your soul that were made only for you. What you keep silent does not isolate you. It protects you, prepares you, defines you. And when you learn to live this way, you realize something even more profound. The real enemy was never the other person. It was your need to be understood. It was that part of you that felt it needed to explain itself, to be validated. And therein lay the trap. The day you no longer need to tell your process to feel it is worthwhile is the day you become free. The day you stop using words as crutches and start walking with the strength of your experience. Because there are silences that are not empty, they are full of meaning. They are sacred pauses where your next level is being prepared. And in that pause, in that apparent stillness, you are growing. Jung said that the human being is divided between what he shows and what he hides, and that true balance is achieved when you learn to reconcile both worlds. It is not about hiding or locking yourself away. It is about choosing with wisdom what you share and what you preserve. Sometimes, keeping something is not being silent out of fear, but rather speaking to life with respect. Because there are processes that are not shouted. They are honored. Silence, then, ceases to be absence and becomes a temple, a space where you rebuild yourself, where there is no need to pretend, explain, or convince anyone. Just you, your truth, and the miracle of being present with yourself. And in that state, your true evolution begins. Therefore, today more than ever, I invite you to make peace with your silence, to stop fighting against that part of you that does not want to tell everything. Because it is not selfishness, it is emotional wisdom. And believe me, when you start living like this, many things will change. You will become more selective, stronger, more focused. You will stop wasting time on empty conversations. You will stop giving yourself to those who do not know how to receive you. And above all, you will stop betraying yourself to fit into worlds to which you never belonged. Your silence will be your new identity, and from there, everything you build will be more real. So, ask yourself this question now. What part of you deserves to be protected? What process are you going through that needs silence instead of words? And when you find that answer, give it space, take care of it, love it. Because right there, exactly there, your new version is being born. If you have come this far, it is because something inside you is awakening. Something that no longer wants to live by halves, that no longer wants to keep talking to be accepted, but rather to be silent, to be free. This was not a simple video. It was an invitation, a door open to a different way of living, more conscious, more solid, more yours. And now it is up to you to decide what you will do with what you have heard. You can let it pass, like so many other messages that arrive and are forgotten. Or you can do something different. Close your eyes, breathe, and make a decision. A silent, intimate, and powerful decision. To take care of your inner world, to protect your energy, to inhabit your process without the need to tell everything. This is emotional maturity. This is evolution. If something in this message touched your soul, do not ignore it. Share it with those who also need to remember that silence is not weakness, it is strength. That being silent is not hiding, it is strengthening oneself. And that not everything is told, because what is most valuable is cared for. Now, I would like to know your opinion. Which part of this message resonated most with you? Leave your comment below, as I will make a point to read it. And if you identify with this type of transformative content, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future reflections. Your soul knows.